Hello, patrons. Welcome to another episode of this Untitled series. I don't think we've got a title for it, have we?
Well, it certainly doesn't have a number anymore, that's for sure. We were supposed to be numbering them, but we didn't.
Well, we can't because we release them in weird orders as well.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, this is our New Year version. I don't know. So we could wish everybody Happy New Year, even if it doesn't come out for a few weeks yet or months.
It'll come out 1 year for sure. It'll definitely be out in a particular year.
You've got a Christmas tree behind you as well, so that's a giveaway.
It's kind of in the dark, though, isn't it?
Release it in May.
So today, rather than picking a specific song, we've decided to look at strumming and moving beyond just simple strumming patterns to see what you can do to make your songs sound a little bit more interesting. So I think the plan was that we were going to use the same 4 chords and look at a number of ways. I think we got about 5 or 6 different ways to just change that up a little bit without changing the chords. Well, yeah, actually with changing the chords a little bit later on, but we'll get to that.
Yes, exactly. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with that basic structure. So the classic 4 chords then of A minor, F, C, and G. Which, if you've seen the Axis of Awesome video, you'll know that there are just like hundreds of songs that use exactly the same chords. And so, which is, I mean, they're nice chords as well, and there's a lot of brilliant songs with it. It's not a new thing. I mean, Let It Be used those chords by the Beatles back in the 60s. Zombie by the Cranberries uses the same chords. Don't Stop Believing by Journey, exactly the same chords, and pretty much everything that's come out in the last 5 years uses the same chords.
Yeah, an awful lot of modern songs now leaning on those chords as well.
And if not in that order, in another order, so you've got A minor, F, C, and G, but you could go C, G, A minor, F, or you could go C. No, you go A. What is it? A minor, C, A minor, F, and G. Which is, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, and 1,000 other songs as well. So there are just thousands of songs you can play with those chords. But I wanted to move away from the, what we call it. They call that the Hawaiian strum as well. The down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up.
Okay. I've heard it called that, which kind of works on any song.
It does, and it's the first one. It's the first drum that I learned on the guitar. Although, back in the day, nobody told me to do down, down, up, up, down. Just watch what the others were doing and copied them. This is how we go.
Yeah.
All right. So, technique number 1, then, Dave, is.
What is it? I've forgotten already.
Chucking or chunking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, cool.
You can do that. Give me an example. Come on, show us how to chuck. You say chuck or chunk?
I don't really know. Like, I've done a video on this where I specifically focus on this, and I call it chucking, chunking without the U, just anything. So the technique is basically to mute the strings with the palm of your hand while you're strumming down. So it gives a kind of noise like that. So if you put that in context of a strum pattern. So it's quite a simple one, this. It's not particularly difficult, I think.
No, I think it takes some work, especially for beginners. If you're just starting with the uke and you got some strumming. Okay, and so you're muting as well, but you can also make it a little bit percussive by, bringing it down harder. So I'm going to go, down, up, chuck, down, up, chuck, down, up, chuck, down, up. And put them in wherever you want, basically. Sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of a song. It reminds me of... it's what Creedence Clearwater Revival song. Which one is it? There's a couple actually that have chunks in quite heavily.
Have you think about it,
Cool.
what you're trying to do there is replace what might be, on a band album, something that could be like hand claps, something that's percussive. It's replacing that and putting it in at the same time. So you're not only accompanying yourself with the ukulele, but also adding a little bit of percussion to it. So
Cool.
yeah, I would imagine. So that's pretty
So
easy to do.
let's tell people how to do it then.
All right.
Do you want to go your way, and then I've got a little technique on this that I like
All
to
right.
use.
So actually, for me, it's a strum. It's not just slapping the strings. It's a strum. But as soon as I make contact with the strings, I'm muting with the palm, like that. So I'm going down, muting with the palm. So I don't know if you just want to go like 1, 2, chuck. 1, 2, chuck. 2, chuck. 3, 1, 2, chuck. 3, 1, 2, chuck. Like that. Does that sound good?
Yeah. So
Is that how you do it?
What I noticed with a lot of beginners before they get to this technique is the difference in the hand position when they're strumming. And I'll see people strumming with their arm almost like perpendicular to the neck.
Right. Okay.
Try and chunk if you've got your hand like that. Go on, give it a blast.
So perpendicular like that.
Yeah.
Which for me it's kind of like a good position for finger picking. Yeah, it's harder, isn't it?
It's really tough. So
Okay.
what I do is so if your hand is normally in that position when you're strumming, what I do is just relax it and let it go down, and I find it just then if I can actually strum while my palm is touching just above the bridge there.
All
so
right,
I can
okay.
come down like that.
Yeah.
And because your hand position is more down than this, it's a lot easier to do. And I think the other thing is I use quite a heavy flick, so that I'm flicking my finger a lot more than I'm moving my wrist, which means I don't really have to move anywhere to do it. It's not like my whole arm's going down or anything like that.
You're doing it more from the wrist. It's more of a wrist action.
Yeah, there's a wrist, but there's also quite a big flick with a finger, which I think helps.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I use this is not really my thing. I'm much more of a finger stylist. It's not really my thing, but I think I tend to sort of like go from the elbow and go down.
I've got to try it.
Not the best economy of movement, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find it slightly more useful to just have your feet pointed down a little bit.
It's also thinking about the dynamics as well. That for me, the best place to strum is kind of like here and not directly over the sound hole, because the ukulele is so short. That as you get closer to the bridge, you get a much harsher sound. So because it's small and has a very high sound, quite a shrill sound, and you want to go for something that's I do. You want to go for something a bit more mellow, so I tend to strum here, and also with the length of my arm makes me strum here and not directly over the sound hole. But you can mix it up with the dynamics as well, because if you want something a bit harder, a bit harsher, you come back and you can play near the bridge. So all of those things can be taken into account.
Cool. So I guess that's technique number one. Not the most difficult. I think it is quite tough if you've never done it before. I seem to remember it took me a while to put that in the context of a song and actually in the context of a rhythm. It's one thing being able to do it. It's another being able to drop it in any kind of rhythm that you play.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe try like this and go like 1, 2, 3 and chuck like that. So 1, 2, 3 and chuck. 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 That could be one way to get started. But then you really need to be chucking where it's appropriate in the song. So whatever the rhythm, how the rhythm takes you. And as I say, that's something that just should come naturally with a bit of practice. There you go.
Cool.
Okay.
So technique number 2.
Technique number 2 is one that I suggested, which comes from flamenco guitar, and it's got a Spanish name, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, to be honest with you. Rasgueado. Do you know what it is, Rasgueado?
No.
Well, I'm sure you know how to do it. You just didn't know the name for it. I had to look it up because I'd forgotten it. I learned it years and years ago and completely forgotten it. Okay, right now this time instead of strumming, well, I am going to strum, but instead of strumming with just one finger, I'm going to strum with all of my fingers except the thumb. So put my hand on the strings like this, and then brush down, starting with the little finger like that, and open your hand like that, and it gives you a percussive. That's it. Okay. Now, in flamenco guitarists have taken this technique to super high levels. So we're just going to do like the basic strum. Flamenco guitarists will do this up and down. I can't do it on the ukulele. That sounds much better on guitar. Okay, but imagine putting that into your basic strumming. So for now we're strumming, and when we change, we do a little Rasgueado. In fact, it's not on the first beat, so I play the strum, do the Rasgueado, and then continue. Next chord, strum, Rasgueado. So if you want to play a bit of flamenco, just play a major chord like an E major chord. Like that, and just slide it up one fret. And that's how you get that typical flamenco sound. But you can use it in any chord progression. It's no difference.
So I mean, this is also you hear this called in ukulele world as a roll or a 5-foot or 4-finger. Well, 4-finger roll, I guess, because the thumb's not really involved.
With your fingers, like that.
No, I just mean I've also heard it referred to as just a roll. So the way it's actually quite difficult, I think, this one, particularly if you're not used to using your little finger to do an awful lot on your strumming hand. So I think just as a practice, I just flick down the strings really slowly with one finger at a time.
Starting with your little finger?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Is that how, I presume, how do you play this strum?
Yeah, little finger, all the way down, all the strings down. Okay, so you're going to fan them, so roll down and fan them out.
And I have a little bit of a rotation in there, which I think just helps me get it. I think I could be better at this technique. So where you were adding it, I guess your second strum, weren't you? So you were...
Yeah, that's it.
I can't remember what chords you were playing. Yeah,
that was A. C and G.
I'm far more used to playing it as the starting strum, but I think it always sounds more interesting.
Just like the chucking, you're going to mix it up according to the song.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? It's like what every new beginner has to learn at some point is that you can't just go to a tutorial on YouTube or a song sheet and follow rigidly the strumming pattern. Well, we're going to talk about that later. But listen to the lyrics of the song. Listen to to where there might be a drum fill in the actual record. And see if you can make your strums sound a little bit more interesting like that. So you could be chucking. And a bit of Rasgueado at the same time. So chug, Rasgueado, chug, and a Rasgueado. And if you're transitioning from a verse to a chorus, you might want to make it sound a little bit longer. So you're going to go and into the chorus. Just something that changes the dynamics all the time. You're not a machine. If you just want to go down, down, up through the whole song, you might as well just get a computer to play it for you.
You've got really good separation when you play it, so mine just sort of is blurring into one at the moment. I think there's something to be said to just taking a little bit more time over it.
That's it. Take it slowly.
Just to give that emphasis to those extra strums that you're getting out
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, exactly. That's it. Okay. But again, you know, that we're just giving you some ideas right now. And if you want to take it further, there are, you know, go and have a look at some of the flamenco guitarist tutorials on Rasgueado and see how it's done. You know, there are 1,000 places where you can learn this stuff, and it sounds really, really cool. It doesn't have to be restricted to Spanish guitar.
As a little bit of an extra one, I saw this a while ago. I've never seen anyone else do it. It was
Yeah.
a two-fingered strum. Well, I say two-fingered. It was a finger and thumb. And the technique was to keep your finger and your thumb basically the width of the neck apart. And strum down with them both.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
So I suppose.
Could you do upstrokes as well? You know, could you just do that? So
Well, I've never tried that.
limit.
Go on, you go first.
Oh, wait, yeah. I like it. I'm
You're happy with that? Yeah.
Thank you. That's really cool.
That is a halfway house for those people that are getting the Rasgueado technique down. Can't quite manage it yet. There's a halfway house for you. Not too difficult, but it sort of doubles the leg for the strum.
It almost sounds like two ukuleles strumming at the same time. Yeah, I'm going to try that. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a surprise for me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, let's snuck that one in there.
I'm not a good strummer. I tell you.
Cool. What we got next then?
What have we got next? That's a good question. I'm gonna have to find it again.
I really need to...
yeah, you're gonna teach me. You teach me how to do some more percussive playing.
I'm rolling my sleeves up. You could see for this one.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I have toyed with the idea of percussive playing a number of times, which is so you'll see people doing it. I will give you. Shall I do? I'll do a little demo. Let's
give me a demo, because I don't know about this.
I'm going to change the chords just because there's a certain song I play that uses it. So which. So that's the technique. And it doesn't actually take that much time to get down. It does hurt your thumb quite a lot, though. I'll give you. So do it sparingly. When your thumb starts to hurt, just dial it in a little bit. So what you're trying to do is there's different parts of a ukulele that give different noises. So if you tap on the bridge with your thumb.
Oh, with the thumb.
Yep.
There.
So,
okay.
So that's one. Another one is just flicking down here. So not where you normally strum, just below that. If you just hit there. So
just on the body there.
Yeah.
You're doing it with your fingernails.
So imagine I'm strumming, but I'm hitting with my fingernails. I'm missing all of the strings, and I'm just coming down on the uke instead.
Okay. So you've got bass and snare.
Yeah, pretty much, and then I will. Occasionally, I'll hit further down as well, and that might just be because my hand needs to be in that position. So again, I'm hitting. That's more or less the same as this one. I'm just hitting further down on the body.
Yeah, this doesn't give you a deeper sound, does it?
No, I've also seen people tap the bottom and tap the top.
Yeah.
I actually can't tap the top because that's where my little tuner and internal electrics are. Yeah.
Get some electric shocks.
So if I apply what I did in the demo, so from the top, and the way to get this is to go stupidly slow. I would suggest a metronome for this one as well. So we're going to go. We're going to slap the bridge of our thumb. Then we're going to come up with our finger. Then we're going to flick as we go down. And then we're going to thumb stroke down. And then up.
Up again.
Yep.
Down, up.
So that will give us. So that's slap, up, flick, down with a thumb, up. So that's the first part. So if we just do that a couple of times.
Let me just try that.
Yeah.
So bridge, up, flick, down, up. That's it.
Yep.
Bridge, up, flick, down, up. Okay, so bridge, up, flick, down, up. Is that right?
So you got bridge, up, flick, down, up. Yep.
Down, up. Okay, bridge,
Cool.
up, flick, down, up.
Yep.
Okay.
Then we've got a little bit more. So after that, well, I'll just do that bit first. Back to the bridge again. Then we've got a flick down again, but lower down on the body here, so we can keep our strumming
Just
on
so
there.
they're closer together.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
So,
And then we're ending on an up strum.
and an up strum. All right. Okay.
Right. Can you remember all that, or do you want me to go really slow? I'll try and go really slow. I'm not used to doing this slow, so I can't.
It's
really
hard to do it slowly. You know, there's some techniques that once you practice them, it's really hard to go back.
This is one of those. So I'm gonna hit with the. Here we go, really slow. So thumb, up, flick, down, up, bridge, flick, up.
Okay, let's see if I can remember that then. All right, I'm going to look at my notes. Bridge, down, flick, down, up, bridge, down, up. That's it. So down, bridge, up, flick, down, up, bridge, flick, up. Getting the rhythm now, so it's not quite. I haven't got the rhythm yet. I'm getting the gestures.
So I think your down up is too quick.
Okay. But the last part, should that be quick?
So let me. I'm gonna play it on.
Go fast. Play it fast.
Do you know what? The spacing is pretty linear in this, so like the timing is really quite linear. So I don't think
And then you repeat again after that.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. So it's like that.
Oh, it's starting to get to go. Yeah.
Like that.
That's I can hear it coming there. My wife hates it. She hates it when I practice this technique because all she can hear is all the time.
I've got mixed feelings about this. I mean, I think it's really, really cool, but then part of me thinks, well, yeah, it's a party trick. You know, where there was, it's still the case at the moment. I think it started with Andy McKee and the song "Drifting" on acoustic guitar. Did you see that one?
No, I don't think I've seen that.
No, seriously, yeah, you have to watch it. It was one of the really early YouTube viral videos. So, and this guy's like doing all kinds of like taps and slaps and everything all over his guitar. But if you remove the percussive element, the music is really not interesting at all. So for me, it's like a party piece.
Well, the song,
and then everybody's doing it now. Everybody's doing it now. You know,
it's very much a technique that just needs time and just slowing it down and just going over really. I mean, every technique needs a lot of repetition, but it really is one that you've just got to just drill it in over and over again. And if the song I tend to play it on is "Feel Good Inc." by Gorillaz, and if you take actually all the percussive out of it, you're pretty much just playing. That's all the strumming that's going on there.
So it's A minor and G6.
It is. Starts with an A minor, yeah, and then you're into a D minor. So I didn't play a D minor at all then, and then back to your G6 again.
G6 or E minor 7. So.
And actually, what I wanted, you got it. And what I wanted to be able to do, and I've only recently learned how to do this, is to start the song without the percussive playing in it, and then move into the percussive playing. And I'll never be able to do it now, but let's give it a go. So I actually start by I use a chunk in it when I'm playing it to begin with. So.
I just think it's brilliant. I think that sounds really cool, but I do think it's the chords as well because you've got this nice.
They are lovely chords, yeah.
Yeah, I think it creates a really good effect.
My dog is barking in the background. I don't know if that's coming through in the mic.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah.
Right, so on to the next one.
Okay, so the next one was just a piece of advice about strumming patterns. We already mentioned that is don't rigidly stick to the strumming pattern. So what can we do? You know, what do you think? When the ukulele teacher or somebody else says, so the strumming pattern is down, down, up, up, down, up, are you going to do that all the way through the song without stopping? What would you do?
No, I don't
Playing a
want.
song?
I never really want to do that all the way through. But I do find sometimes when I'm playing a strumming pattern. So if we're playing the Hawaiian strum, it can be quite hard to break out of that. I think because you become a bit of a robot. So what do I do about this? Well, the first thing actually, and this is probably you're going to hate me for saying this, but I'll probably pick 2 or 3 patterns that all comfortably sit within the timing that we've got, and I'll mix those in so that I'm not necessarily landed on one. I'll drop out some strums now and again. So you know, if I'm playing down, down, up, up, down, up, I'll just miss one here and there.
Exactly, that's what you should be doing. Yeah, exactly. You know, creating some space between the chords.
John is very much of the opinion that he doesn't, and there's a lot of people out there like this that don't really like to see strumming patterns given out and being adhered to really strictly. There's a lot of, it tends to be better musicians that are really sort of anti-strumming pattern. I'm not one of those because I don't think I'm a natural musician at all. So mine's a sort of labour of just giving it loads of time that's got me to be able to play. And I depended on them really to be able to get there. So I'm a little bit more lenient on it. And I think people like yourself, John, are able to just mix it up comfortably. Whereas people like me, we get this strumming pattern in, we learn it. And it's not just a case of, oh, just do it a little bit differently. Just change it up. It's like, what? Where do you go? How? What do I need to do? Because I've learned it in a mechanical fashion.
Yeah, but I think that's a good way to start, is what you said. And you've got your strumming pattern. How about missing a strum and creating more space between it, not on every bar, but just when it feels like it. And for me, the other thing is that strumming is really for songs. You know, nobody's going to sit there and just strum these chords just for the fun of it forever. I mean, they might do it for practice, but the whole point is that it's for learning a song. So if you're singing a song, then for me, one of the best, the best piece of advice that I can give you for strumming is try to match the strumming with the lyrics. Right. Okay. So there's a pre-chorus in "Don't You Want Me" by the Human League, and it goes A, so A major to B to E minor, and then it goes, and then we will both be sorry. So what are you going to do there? You're not going to keep strumming exactly the same. Imagine that you've got a drummer, and the drummer is going to do like a fill into that part. Well, then the ukulele player or the guitarist could just do one strum for each word. So now it's going to be la 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 la, and then don't you want, and then you act into the chorus, and that's using the lyrics then to help you to find a strumming pattern, because it would be so boring just to keep doing it the same thing over and over again.
For those people that sort of struggle with this, to just naturally just change it up, I think one thing we could do here is bring the chunking in. I think that's a really good way to do it immediately. Yeah. Just to bring some chunking in now and again. I think that's a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think aim to get 2 or 3 patterns down. If you're the kind of person that needs it written down and you need a diagram or something like that, give yourself 2 or 3 of those rather than just one. Aim to mix them up a little bit rather than
exactly, or alternating, where you've got your down, down, up, down, up, maybe doing, and then for the next chord just do downstrokes. if you're transitioning into a pre-chorus, the chorus, then just stop a little bit, give it a bit more air. So anything that creates a bit of space, a bit more dynamics is a good thing. But it's true that I agree with you. You should perhaps have a couple of strumming patterns in your head and try alternating them, mixing them up, changing strumming pattern from verse to chorus, pre-chorus to bridge or what have you. Make a different strumming pattern. That's going to liven things up a lot.
Yeah, I was just thinking as you were talking that ultimately I think it just comes down to trying. Just try. Just don't just stick with the one. Whatever method you need, whether you need to have two written down, whether you need to rigidly stick to a second strumming pattern, do that. That's going to sound better immediately. I think there are loads of different ways. Apply some of the techniques that we've talked about earlier. Anything just to mix it up, because there are, and I'm guilty of this as well, there are too many people teaching people to play down, 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 up, down, up for every single song, and unfortunately it works on them all. So you will get a lot of people doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Right. So next tip. Sus chords.
Okay.
Then definitely. Again, it's a cliche, but we, as a beginner, we should be aware of sus chords. A little bit of music theory. Do you know what a sus chord is, Dave?
I do not, and I find them easier to play. Easier to know how to play on guitar than they are on ukulele, I would say. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, possibly because you've got more options.
Yeah.
Right. Now there's a thing. What does sus mean? I've forgotten.
It's suspended.
Is it suspended? It's not sustained. It's suspended.
No, it's suspended. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what does it mean if a chord is suspended then?
I've no idea. I do know the word is suspended though.
Okay. It means that it's neither major or minor in its character.
Right.
Character is not the right word. Okay, I'm going to get some music theorists after me for this one.
Hang on. So if it's neither major nor minor, does that mean that it's the third that we're taking out or changing?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So I mean, as opposed to a power chord which only has two notes, a suspended chord or a sus chord will replace a third with another. So it's usually written sus4 or sus2. Okay, so that's going to mean that we're replacing the third note either with the second note of the scale or the fourth note of the scale. All right, so let's give you an example. Then we've got a G major chord, and the third note is B here, which is the second fret. That's the third note of the scale. So if I play a do re mi scale in G, it's going to go 1, 2, 3. So B is the third note. To make a minor chord, the third note is flat, so it's going to be B flat. So that's a minor chord, and that's a major chord. Now, a suspended chord has neither of those. If it's a sus4, it has the fourth note. So the fourth note is a C, and it sounds like that. Okay. Now, why is it called suspended? Okay, because that sound keeps you, the listener, in suspension because you're waiting for it to resolve back to the third. So, and this is not just a trick that folk guitarists use, because you listen to Bob Dylan and Simon and Garfunkel, you hear this all the time. But it comes from classical music, way back, right to early music and Renaissance music. Is that a big piece of music will finish with a sus chord, and then it will resolve back to the major chord, and that's how it ends. And if it just finishes like that, the listener is kind of like in suspended animation. What's the next thing that's coming? And so when it goes back to that, we call that resolution. It resolves back to the note. Now, in our strumming, then, if you've got a major chord that you're playing for 1 bar or 2 bars or 3 bars, it gets a bit boring after a while. Then what you can do with a sus chord is just flick your little finger on, all right, to make just to make that chord sound a little bit more interesting. And because we've got sus2 chords as well, if we've got a G major chord, I can take my second finger off and play what would be a sus2 chord with an A. I can do all three. So now I'm going to go, so G major, sus2, sus4, back to G major, you know, and those are things you can just chuck in anywhere to make your strumming more interesting.
Yeah, really useful actually. It's quite interesting to understand how they are put together rather than just going and looking up what's a sus2 and the sus4 for this chord. It's quite good to know which note you're playing, which is the third, so you can actually just formulate them yourself.
That's right.
I can't always do that at the moment, but yeah, it is good to know. So that if I just happen to be somewhere where I can't look a chord up.
Well, this is the advantage then, or one of the benefits of learning to play scales, is because all you got to do is just convert things into numbers. It's so easy. For example, you say, well, how do I play a C sus4 chord? Well, so we just learned that it's the fourth note of the scale. So if you go, oops, you go and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got F. And so now that we know the F, add an F to a C chord, and you've got the C sus chord. All right. And when we play, you know, in a lot of folk music, traditional music, I'm actually going to play from the C chords to an F chord, keeping my finger here. So although you know, musically, in theory, that is an F chord, what I'm doing by playing the F chord there against my C is I've got both an F chord and a C sus4 chord. All right, so you hear that all the time in fingerstyle guitar and fingerstyle ukulele, of course. But do it when you're strumming. You know, you can just chuck them in any way you want, just to make everything sound a bit more interesting. You know,
Cool.
but you can figure them out by just counting up. Play the scale do re mi and count to 4, and you'll find the note that you need.
Cool.
Or just Google it. It's a lot quicker. But at your peril, because you won't learn any music theory like that.
Yeah, they're good for hammer-ons and pull-offs as well, aren't they? They're really good for.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really nice to do hammer-ons and pull-offs as well. So
yeah.
Well, depending on which chord it is, but on that G there, yeah, quite handy.
Okay.
Cool.
And if you as it's Christmas time as well, if you listen to John Lennon's Happy Christmas, The War Is Over, the whole song is built on sus chords just moving down. So he plays one chord and he just shifts those sus chords all the way down and then changes to another chord and plays loads of sus chords. It's a really, really interesting song, in fact.
I'm going to check that out.
I heard it rather too many times when I was working as a retailer in London, but it is a good song. Okay. All right. Then one more.
Yep. Last one
then, which is related, and that is to, you know, stop playing the chords as they're written and try to play some variations on those chords. Now I did an experiment with this. So imagine we're going back to our A minor, F, C, and G. How would it sound if I kept? Let's start with let's start with the open A. How would it sound if I kept all of the chords, but instead of playing just the chords as they are, keep the open A ringing? So I'm going to go there from A minor to F, no change because it's an open A. But then if I go to G, I've got the sus2 chord, and then with the C, don't play anything, so I've got a C6 chord. So I've got like a kind of drone going.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound that great, okay? What would it sound like if I played the note B? Then I've got a nice chord, I got a nice jazzy chord. Alright, so that gives me some major sevenths and no, what's that? That's a minor ninth chord. Well, who cares about the names? Just try it with the B. Let's see. Alright, well, an F with a B sounds a bit weird. But a C with the B gives me C major 7, so that's kind of cool. And G has a B anyway. All right, let's try it with a C. So So I've got my little finger here. I'm going to hold it on little finger. So
Yep.
now I've got A minor, F. That could be cool. Could we do
Yeah.
it with a D? It's that you don't really have to know a lot of theory about chords. Just try. A lot of songs, greatest songs that were ever written, were just when a guitarist or a songwriter sits down and starts noodling and hits a note by accident and says, "Oh, that sounds really cool." You know, just think of all of the songs that may have like a, you know, just the same shape moving up the neck.
Well,
You know, these are just kind of like fiddling about and finding it, and you discover these wonderfully rich kind of jazz chords or what have you just by adding an extra note to a chord. But just see how it sounds.
Well,
You know?
interestingly enough, before we started recording today, I was playing 2 chords, and John said, "Oh, they're interesting chords." Actually, it was just a variation on a C and an F. So rather than playing a standard, I was playing a barred F. So I was playing. So that's a standard C and an F. I was just playing my C one note down, so we got C major 7.
Yeah.
And an F major 7, and instantly it just became a little less boring and a little more interesting. It just gave it something else.
Yeah.
So that's the exact same thing that we're talking about right here.
Exactly. Then this is how jazz musicians will convert a pretty basic song into a jazz song just by adding a 7th to it. I like that drone.
Do you want to explain what a drone is for those people that don't know what that actually means in the context of what we're talking about?
Well, droning on. What droning on means, if you got a drone like on if you have an instrument like bagpipes, there's one note that plays continuously all the way through, and that's exactly what I mean by a drone. It has to be in the key, but as I say, if you're playing like in the key of C, then all of the notes in that particular scale will make a chord. So that's what I mean by a drone, just keeping the same note ringing all the way through.
Yep.
And that, we see that a lot in pop music as well, where you may have a very basic melody, but the chords will change over the melody, and that just gives you a different texture, a different flavor. So sometimes things that are really, really simple sound a lot more interesting because of that, maybe that one note that's droning along. Okay.
Cool.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, no, got it.
All right, it's good. Well,
Cool.
those are my tips. And, thank you very much for teaching me your percussive track. I'm going to practice that a lot.
Yeah, be warned, it does annoy people around you quite quickly.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get some comments.
Okay, so there's a load of techniques for you to try and apply to your playing, and let us know how you get on. Let us know how you do with some of those techniques.
Okay, cool.
And we'll be back soon, as always.
We will, for the next lesson.